Hope you are well. Now, today I am going to spend the time gathering up information. I said evidence, but I'm going to gather up information on the Jarvis Butts Naziah Harris. Horrible, horrible case. I'm trying to um, really get into it. I was hearing bits and pieces of it all throughout the week, and I'm going to really, really put some time in it today to get all the accurate information up to date. And for those of you that have been following me this long, you know, I only give the accurate information. I don't want to give any kind of BS. I mean, like I always say, it's enough BS that's going on in all these stories. Why add to it? Why lie when the truth is a motherfucker, so why lie? So, okay, on September 27, 2024, Jarvis Butts was charged with being a habitual fourth-time offender. Now, this would come 8.5 months short of Naziah's disappearance, like a title that they was giving him, like it was going to stop anything that he was doing, because it wasn't. The only thing that was going to stop him was being behind bars. And when he was, it didn't last for long. Jarvis and Naziah, they had knew one another before he became the father of her cousins, but their sexual interaction started when she was just 11 years old. She would send him nudes on request by him. He would ask her to perform oral on him, and she would. And they would exchange I love yous in these text messages. And he would say he needs to get some PUSSY from her in all these text messages. She thought, and I hate to say this, but she's 11. She thought that she was in love with him. Ladies, remember when you were 11? Or 12 or 13? I'm remembering when I was 14. And I was in love with who would ultimately become my son's sperm donor. But I would say I was in love with him. And my mom would say, oh, that's just puppy love. Was she right? Was it puppy love? I felt I loved him at the time. I did. So, but she was 11. And she thought that she was in love with this grown man. He knew. This was the first person, I can't say even the first boy, but this was the first male counterpart that was in her face, literally, the way that he was. She missed periods before. She was pregnant by him before. And at 11 years old, she knew, are you going to get a pregnancy test? I don't have money to get one. Are you going to get another plan B? I mean, she knew all this. There's women that's probably in their 30s and 40s that are not quite sure. I mean, we know what Plan B does, but, she knew off top. Okay? What I mean to say is I know there's women in their 20s, 30s, and 40s that never touched a Plan B, but she knew. She's not even a teenager at this point, and she already knew what Plan B's was, probably how much they cost and everything. So by now, in these text messages, Naziah is 4 months pregnant, and she's struggling because of the baby shit. That's what she said in one of the texts. She's struggling because she has to do these things in gym, and it's a struggle because she's a baby in her. And she didn't want to fail. And she was going to fail if she didn't do these exercises accurately. And between December 8th, 2023 and December 11th, 2023, on Jarvis's phone, he is looking up numerous times abortion pills, over-the-counter abortion medicines, even an herbal tea that's advertised as a method to help you abort a child, and also checking the Planned Parenthood websites. So did he act on some of these details that he was looking at on his phone? as I read right now, currently, as the stuff that I was just reading between last night and this morning, as I was reading stuff, I haven't looked at any videos yet. I like to read first, then look at the videos if there's any that I'm going to watch, but I am going to watch court TV. So I'm reading all this information, and it seems to me from right now that he might have mistakenly killed her to get rid of the unborn child. He was, reading things like to give her, what was it, like an antifreeze at one point? I think it was an antifreeze. But he was trying to give her all these things to kill this fetus. And he had to do it quick. She's already a very small frame girl. She's 11. She's not even into her, her real body, her adolescent body. She is still a young girl. She's still growing, is what I'm trying to say. And okay, she can hide pregnancies because everybody's like, oh, with the woman in the house, they didn't know. Well, it's winter time. And even though she's small, she could wear baggy hoodies, baggy jeans, then a coat. It is a way that you can tell. Unless she's puking in the morning and not wanting to eat or wanting to eat too much, those can be telltale signs. But as for her body, you can hide it. A lot of women and girls hide pregnancies. That is not, unless you're bathing her, and she's 13, she's bathing herself. So I'm pretty sure it was easy to hide that. She was hiding it in gym. She was hiding it in gym, right? So it's easy to hide that. And why would he intentionally kill her? He's been doing this now for, at least 2 years. 2.5 years he's been doing this. So why kill her now? I mean, he transmitted chlamydia to a 4-year-old little girl, one of his girlfriend's daughters, and he got some time for that. But he's out. He's out free to roam, and that's exactly what he was doing. Exactly. And again, he put all this time into grooming her. 11 years old. All this time into grooming her. She called him Bae before anyone else, right? She called him Bae. The little videos that she posted all referenced him. She even said, I don't want to lose you in these text messages.
If only you were mine. If only you were mine. Baby, I'm thugging. I can't be mad, boy. I think I met the right nigga. I'm looking for a ring, baby. Cause I'm gonna be your wife, nigga. And we're gonna have some pretty, pretty baby.
Yep, she didn't want to lose a man that was old enough to be her father, and a father I'm thinking you do not want. Jarvis had a 9-year-old daughter, one of his 9-year-old daughters, and Isaiah, they would go up to that auto body shop that he co-owns. They would go up there daily and help him clean up the shop. Maybe the little 9-year-old was getting a couple dollars. Maybe Isaiah was getting a couple dollars, but she was going up there to see her boyfriend, Bae, the father of her child. That's who she was going up there to see. But maybe nobody suspected it. I mean, people say, you don't notice these little girls hanging around the shop. Okay, it is his daughter and his niece. Call the police, right? Right? That's his daughter and his niece. Come on now. That is not going to pan out when the cops get there. Okay, this is my daughter, this is my niece. They're coming up here to clean up the shop. I mean, and that's it. So no, unless I could see he's off somewhere, inappropriately touching, Naziah, I could see that might have been a eyebrowing raise. But otherwise, no, I don't think that it looked strange at the time, even given what he had been accused of. Still, if you're around that shop and you know that this man had gotten out of prison some time ago for SAing a 4-year-old and giving her an STD, people knew. And they still, I hate to use this language, they still was fucking with him. They still was fucking with him, and he knew. This is how he fit into society, okay? He had a shop that he was co-owning, and he was just living his life, the way he wanted to still, okay? Now, Naziah, she lived with her grandmother. And her grandmother was aware that she was going to a shop. Now, don't quote me on this part, but I believe one of the aunts lived there too with their kids. That's what I think. I'm not quite sure. But let's say she did know what was going on. Let's say she did know that her granddaughter was 4 months pregnant. I mean, it's winter time, and Naziah might have been wearing hoodies and t-shirts and jackets. And even though Naziah had a small frame, a small body, you can still hide that. It's not like she's giving Naziah a bath at night to where she can see that she's getting a pregnant belly. Not fat, a pregnant belly. Naziah's 13. She is jumping in the showers on her own unless she hears her throwing up in the morning from morning sickness or, overeating too much or not eating enough when you first become pregnant. Sometimes you don't have an appetite. I mean, those are telltale signs, but let's just say that she didn't notice that either because the school officials didn't know. She was claiming that, she was afraid she was going to fail gym because she couldn't do all the exercises because of that, quote, belly shit, unquote, in one of her text messages. So she was trying to tell the father of her child, the pedo, that they have to do something. They have to do something, most definitely. They have to do something. And that video that I just played, when she says, we're going to have some pretty babies. Yeah, Naziah, you were going to. I watched a larger version of this video, and she's actually caressing a belly bump. She is visually pregnant. Baby, 'cause I'm gonna be your wife, nigga. We're gonna have some pretty baby. You were going to have a beautiful, beautiful baby that he probably would have assaulted as well because that's just who he is. That's just who he is. It's disgusting. And the fact that he not only physically abused her and, well, towards the end perhaps, but not only did he sexually abuse her, he was mentally abusing her and emotionally abusing her as well. So it's just, it's bad. Yes, the whole entire thing is bad. So on January 9th, when she doesn't come home, she's 13 years old, she doesn't come home, her grandmother says she'll call the police in the morning. But remember, she's a sweet girl and this is out of her character. Yeah, you should have already called the police if you didn't know that she was down at the shop. Yeah, you should have called the police. Now that is so suspect that you didn't. If she's never done anything like this before, and you have a listing of all her friends or where she could be, yeah, you really should have called the police. How could you even go to sleep? You can't act like you don't know where your telephone is. It's right in your hand. So that just was a little suspect to me. Like, why didn't you call the police immediately? Maybe an Amber Alert would have been issued, something. It wouldn't have changed the circumstance, but it would have showed that you took action quicker than what you did. I also read that the day that, and I'm going to try to look more into this too, I also read that the day that Naziah went missing, she was on the floor at her school. She said she needed to talk to somebody. She was waiting for a school counselor, and no one ever showed up. I mean, was she going to tell the counselor what was going on? Was she going to tell the counselor that she was pregnant? That really has me thinking, was she? I mean, it would have came to an end that day. Some of these secrets would have been brought to the surface and in Naziah's favor. Yeah, she would have still been pregnant and she would have probably had the baby. But I promise you this case wouldn't be nationwide. I promise you I wouldn't be talking about it right now if that was in fact the situation, because I hate to burst your bubble, but there's a lot of 11, 12, and 13-year-old girls getting pregnant by men well over 25 and 30. They are. and 40, as you can see. They are. It's disgusting, but it's happening, and it doesn't make the top story. It doesn't. Now, I'm going to tell you why this one made the top story. 11 months ago, I covered her disappearance, the fact that she just got off the bus and vanished. That's what we were led to believe, but no, she got off that bus and she went down to that auto body shop, because we just didn't know that Jarvis had plans for her that day. She wasn't sweeping up that floor that day. He had plans for her. That was the terrible part. And I think this case even went more salacious when they dug more into it. And it got so much media attention because of everything that came out of it. Now, this is everything. I'm going to look into this later. Her birth mom couldn't care for her, right? So the grandmother would raise Neziah. Now, Neziah was allegedly conceived out of an affair. So her father was cheating on, his wife with another woman, Neziah's mother. He would give it to the grandmother to raise. Now, when the father was found, they asked, do you know where Neziah Harris is? He said he hadn't seen Neziah in over 8 years. So he hadn't seen Neziah until she was maybe like 3, 4. That was the last time that he had seen her. And they're saying that he went looking. He went trying to find her. And the last, couple of months of his life, he's looking for his daughter that has disappeared. And he ended up dying, of natural causes. But he ended up dying. So the case just gets even more crazy. But even if that didn't really, help it get more into the media, how about this? The fact that, okay, before we know that he is so disgusting, he appears to be attractive. He's not the ugliest guy out there. And he may have even been charming to a certain degree. I don't know. I'm just trying to throw it out there, okay? He may have even been charming. But they're saying that he was sleeping with all the women in the house. His baby mama, who has 5 kids by him, he has a total of 20 kids altogether, sleeping with her sister, may have even slept with the grandmother, sleeping with all the girls in the house too, that was young. He already had 2 charges on him, around the time Neziah went missing, of underage girls. And they say everybody that he does have a child, if you date back to when they got pregnant, they were underage. So he was just a habitual sex offender when it came to young girls. So that right there made it even more disgusting, salacious. It just doesn't get more funky than that. And that's exactly what he was doing. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why I believe this case blew up, because of all that mess right there. That's what I'm saying. The case itself is already fucked up. So, you don't have to add any more lies into it. You just don't have to. Now, I plan to today take the time and, go over some of these court transcripts that are public, and look at some more of court TV. I love court TV, just to see what exactly is going on out of the people's mouths that know Jarvis Butts and Neziah Harris. We know that Neziah is more than likely deceased. The clothes that she was wearing was found at the Rouge River, where they knew that Jarvis Butts was. And the clothes looked like they were placed there. So did he also put her body and then it just go out to the sea and now it just will never be found? I mean, is that what happened? But we will find out soon enough. So I'm going to leave it right there, and I'm going to come back and share with you some more information that I have gathered. If you are following this case too and you want to mention something that I have not mentioned, please do. I want to go off everything that people are sharing with me about this case. Okay, until then, enjoy your Saturday.